what I was talking about is time.
Yeah.
When I'm talking about doing these exercises, I'm talking about time, about locking in with the metronome and really having a clear sense of how to play in time.
Yeah.
Groove and feel is a completely different thing.
Yeah.
People can have groove and feel without having good time.
Yeah, absolutely.
Many people have good time and don't have groove or feel. You know, these things are very different.
Dudes, you've been asking me for this for a long time. I give you, obviously, Michael League. Yeah, let's go for another one. Michael League. That clip at the beginning of this video was from the lesson that you're about to watch, but what's really important is that I was talking to Mike in this interview and he pointed out something I've never really thought about that much before, and it was like psh, a bomb going off in my mind. What he said was, and you heard it right at the beginning of this video, is groove and good time are two completely separate things. So we're going to be getting into it in this video. Mike's also going to be showing you a really specific exercise as well that he used to work on his time and his independence of his fingers, in obviously to do with his technique on the bass as well. So make sure you check out that exercise, and also obviously make sure you check out the discussion about good time, groove, how they're two completely separate things, and also how to work on both of them, how you work on your groove. This is some really fantastic stuff. I know that you're gonna love it. Don't click on the cat over there. Just, give me 10 minutes of your time and you'll remember this stuff for the rest of your life. Dudes, and while I've got you, let me know in the comments, when's the first time you heard Snarky Puppy? And let me know your favorite track as well. There's too many for me to name, but let me know in the comments when you first heard them, what your favourite track is, and let me know if you haven't heard them as well. If you haven't heard them after this interview, go check them out. They're one of the coolest bands of our time right now. They need your ears. Now, let's get into this conversation with the one and only Michael League.
In terms of like, when I listen to you play, you just like, your pocket is really, really awesome. Like, I'm
glad
just
you
like,
feel that way.
Oh, Jesus. I'm like, give me a break, it's too good. Like, in terms of like working on your groove, have you ever done anything like that? Knowingly, and thought, I'm going to work on this specific exercise?
Sure.
What kind of stuff have you done?
I mean, a basic control exercise like that. I mean, I do this on any instrument that I'm learning, like, technique level 0, basically like a drone, like focusing. I mean, in general, when you're practicing, it's nice to focus on one thing.
Yeah.
Right? Because the
Focus
more
in on one, yeah.
And just really go way in there. So right hand open string. We're gonna forget about the left hand, and like just doing something like alternating 1, 2.
Yeah.
I've warmed up like this for 16 years playing bass, but changing accents and changing speed. So maybe at a moderate speed, like. And changing the accents, so like 4s, 1, actually 8s, I guess.
Yeah.
Or 4s.
Just making sure the actual placement's bang on.
Right, or 3s. Or 5s.
Yeah.
Or groupings, like 2, 2, 3, like.
Yeah.
Which would be 7, or 2, 2, 2, 3, which would be 9, right?
Yeah.
And just doing things like that, like you're totally taking your left hand out of the thing and you're focusing on accenting and changing accents with each finger, right? If you do any of those drills where the total number is odd, you're going to be starting with a different finger. You're going to be flipping everything.
It's going to be flipping, yeah.
So 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, right?
And making sure that you've got complete control.
Complete control with a metronome. you know, always with the metronome, you know. And there's a million things you can do to practice with a metronome without an instrument.
Yeah, because you've got it like locked in, something to lock into.
Yeah.
So to tell you you're locked in or not, right?
Totally. And just really letting the music in your mind guide your hands and not the other way around. Because as bass, it's such a tactile thing. We can really play stuff without knowing what we're playing.
Yeah.
Right? I mean, I can just play.
Yeah, like a pattern. Yeah.
You know, and I don't hear any of those notes.
Yeah.
But you can tell that I don't hear any of those notes.
Yeah.
Right? So before you do anything when you're practicing, just thinking about how will this sound, hear it in your head, and then try to pull the sound out with your fingers, you know? So, I mean, I think exercises like that are really, really good. And I still warm up like that.
Yeah.
You know, put the metronome to where it, there's a great free app called Tempo that I use, and you can speed up the metronome every 8 bars or every 20 seconds.
Well, it just clicks on, yeah.
Yeah, by however many BPM that you want. And it's great, you know, for just spending 20 minutes just doom, 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 doom. And after 20 minutes,
Yeah.
you know, stuff like that.
Because it's actually really, it's more complex than you think. Like when I'm doing it, and when I'm always like, when somebody's playing 2 notes, like just like the consecutive same note, I'm always like, listen to the placement. Like, is it even? Or is it slightly off? You know, when you listen to a great drummer play,
Right, it's not
and it's
metronomic.
right in the pocket.
Yeah.
It's right in the pocket, you know, like, can we do that with our fingers?
Well, I think the thing about what I was talking about is time.
Yeah.
When I'm talking about doing these exercises, I'm talking about time, about locking in with the metronome and really having a clear sense of how to play in time.
Yeah.
Groove and feel is a completely different thing.
Yeah.
People can have groove and feel without having good time.
Yeah, absolutely.
Many people have good time and don't have groove or feel. You know, these things are very different.
So why do you think that is?
Because one is spiritual and one is technical.
And do you think you can work on groove? Do you think it's something that you can...
Completely. But I think that you're very disadvantaged if you don't have access to musicians who play with groove and feel.
Yeah.
I went through college 4 years, did my thing, learned a bunch about theory and harmony and complex warm-up exercises and things like this. But, you know, I really didn't have any feel.
Yeah.
It's
actually playing with those guys that's giving you feel. It's like
totally.
A byproduct of
And I mean, I really got up in there, like in a scene. I was fortunate enough to be living near Dallas, where all the Roy Hargrove, RH Factor guys, all the Marcus Miller guys, all the Erykah Badu guys, all the Kirk Franklin, Fred Hammond guys, you know, they were all living there.
Yeah.
So I found those places
Yeah.
where those things were happening. I was playing in churches, like 80% of my gigs were in churches for 4 years in Dallas, you know, and like you really understand quickly how bad your feel is, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
You know, and so for me I was fortunate. Not everyone has that opportunity, but we all have records.
Yeah, absolutely, yeah.
And now with the internet, we all have YouTube and we can watch these people play.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And you really have to take the initiative as an individual to try to learn how to play exactly like that.
Yeah.
Don't just learn the notes. Don't just buy the bass, you know, but to really get all of the subtleties that your heroes have. And if you learn enough of those things from enough people, it's kind of like a passageway to your own sound.
Yeah.
You know, a lot of people I don't want to learn too much of James Jamerson because I don't want to sound like a clone. Of course you don't want to sound like a clone.
Yeah.
You're never going to sound like James Jamerson, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But it's important that for me, it was like I got into Jocko, and then I got into Jamerson.
Yeah.
You know, and then I got
and
into
you're taking
Dave
elements
Holland.
From all, you're taking elements from all these players.
Yeah.
And you become an amalgamation of all your influences.
Yeah, I mean, you can't do anything new. No one can do anything new. All we can do is take the stuff from our record collection and put it through our filter with the way that we feel inside and express it.
Yeah.
You know? So, I mean, how do you get groove? How do you get feel? If there are musicians in your town that you really feel that they have this thing strongly, go to every gig. Yeah. Carry their amp. You know what I mean?
Get involved.
Set up, tell them, I'm happy to set up your stuff. you know, blah, 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 blah. I was doing that with a keyboard player, you know, I was setting up, driving him to his gigs. Bernard Wright, you know, like one of the greatest musicians I've ever met. I was driving him to his gigs, setting up his gear for like 3 years, you know, and we were playing at church together, and it was, you know, it was funny because I didn't feel like I had anything to offer musically until I had spent 3 years doing that.
Hopefully you enjoyed that, guys. Obviously, huge thanks to Mike for coming out and hanging here in the hot seat. SBL Towers, whoop whoop. I should also tell you that that interview was taken from a full hour-long interview that is going to be getting uploaded into the Scott's Bass Lessons membership really, really soon. So if you are a member, obviously keep a lookout for that. It is coming for you. If you are not a member, go to scottsbasslessons.com and check it out. We are the #1 online bass school in the world, and we want you to be a student. We want you to come and study with us, guys, because we've got the craziest bass faculty in the world. It's your chance, essentially, to study with the best bass educators, the best bass players in the world from the comfort of your own home. We've got the coolest and largest course library ever created for bass players. We do live stream seminars every single week. Yeah, it's awesome. And you can try it for 14 days. So go to scottsbasslessons.com, try it out for 14 days just to take it for a test drive. See if it's for you. Come and say hello to us. We are waiting for you. Now, obviously, take it easy, and I'll see you in the shed.